to another video, guys. Almost 3 days have passed since the new patch came through, and in this video I'm gonna show you what are the new best decks after that patch. I hope you find the video helpful, and if you do, a like and subscribe would be awesome. And don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, where I do my best to show you guys the best decks. We're gonna go through 5 of the best decks right now, talk about their mulligans, win rates and general tips, but we're also gonna check out all of the other working archetypes for each individual class, so stick around to the end so you can get the full picture. Now let's get into the guide.
You are not prepared!
The first deck on the list is gonna be Broxigard Demon Hunter, and I have no idea why Hearthstone keeps refusing to acknowledge that Blob is an absolute menace of a card right now, especially in Demon Hunter. Right now, if you scroll through the best decks for Diamond to Legend for the last few days, you're gonna see so many different iterations of Broxigard Demon Hunter and Ravenous Demon Hunter and anything in between, but what they all have in common is a freaking Blob of Tar into Ravenous Fell Hunter. Shocking, I know. The deck is just way too good, way too strong, and for way too long if we gotta be honest, but it is what it is. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how the new expansion handles this, but my prediction would be day 1 Blob of Tar and at least get nerfed to the ground and we pretend we're doing some game-breaking shit. I don't know, guys, like it's just kind of depressing to see it like that, but it is what it is. If you're enjoying this class, congratulations, you're gonna be spanking people left and right. If not, suck it up with the rest of us. Anyway, this version does have the Blob of Tar, the Ravenous, it also runs Elise, obvious, so that's why we have to be running things like the 6-mana Climbing Hook. The Remnant of Rage gives you tons of card draw, especially thanks to things like Patches, the Dangerous Cliffside, the 5-mana location from Elise with Rushers. That kind of stuff makes it super easy for these guys to go down to 0. And you also have yourself Twin Plus Perfect module, and Cease's Expanse at the end is just basically an extra digit. You're gonna notice we only have a single copy of UFO Brewmaster in here, but it's still more than enough to give you 25 worth of damage on a single turn with your Broxigard later on, so that can help big time. You could also use it in some situation for your Elise, but that's not very popular, even though it could be. I do have plenty of different guides about similar decks to this, so you might want to check those out, but now let's see what their matchups are looking like. And for this particular version, we can see you're going to be good against all 3 of the listed classes. Well, it's 50-50 against Quest Warrior, but not by much. But it's not bad by any means. We can check a similar version with a lot more sample size. Here's an extra Ravenous instead of an Eladari, and this one is gonna be a bit more populated indeed, and Protoss Mage might be a problem. Everything else pretty good though. Kinda shocking how good Quest Warrior is for this iteration, just a single card change, but yeah, it do be like that. When it comes down to the mulligan, here's what we have. You want to be curving off good with your early game curve, with Patches, with Duskpiercer, Grim Harvest, the Portal's great, Elise, Blob obviously, Infestation especially against some matchups, Axe of Scenarios can be great, Press the Advantage is okay, and if you already have either Blob or Duskpiercer, Ravenous might also make sense. Depending on the matchup, the location destruction might also be helpful. Going second again, try to get the good early game curve and you should be climbing in no time. Other good Demon Hunter decks, this is the one I'm showing you, 63.6% win rate, almost 2,000 games. We also have other iterations which are slightly different. They're all Broxigard lists that are actually planning to play Broxigard at some point. We can scroll down further and see a little bit less sample size, a little bit less win rate. Here we have a version with a single Eldari Inquisitor, which is interesting. A Ravenous is still up there, smaller sample size however, but yeah, you get the picture. Right now Demon Hunter has so many options to go for, with aggro, with big Demon Hunter, with Ravenous, with Peddler, no minion. I've even started seeing some quest Demon Hunters against me, and what am I missing? The Death Rattle Octosari Demon Hunter is actually somewhat playable, that kind of stuff. So yeah, over 7 actual decent archetypes for Demon Hunter right now, most of which absolutely top tier. On the number 2 spot, we have Corpse Death Knight, which is just as strong after the patch came through, and we don't really have any changes, even though I have seen some lists run the new 7-mana card that destroys your 2-drops, which definitely could fit in like a glove in this one, but you should be climbing without it as well. And again, you could be checking out my detailed guides about this deck. I have a version with the Giant, without the Giant, that kind of stuff, all of which climb very, very easily right now. It is a mid-rangey deck, it's called Control, but honestly, you are trying to overwhelm the opponent, usually around turn 6, where they can't really handle all of the crap you're gonna be doing against them, with the help of Exarch Maladar, with Shadows of Yesterday, 0-mana Remnants of Rage happen easily, Stitch Giants as well, and you could even be cheating out Ysera into Ferak thanks to Narrowlex and such, so that can be huge. Nothing too specific about this deck, it is running Elise, you are gonna want to go for the 5 drops with it. We have Ziliax for extra healing, and yeah, as long as you manage to curve off a little bit lucky with your early game, because you don't have too much of it, you should be climbing in no time with this this one because it just has such a solid mid game. Here's what the matchups are. Broxigar Demon Hunter is gonna be a little bit on the negative for you, but nothing too dramatic. Everything else pretty decent. When you're going first, here's what the situation is gonna be. Creature of Madness is great. The Morbid Swarm, like I said, anything under 4 mana is gonna be a keeper, and if you're curving into something like Exile of Maladar, that might also be pretty good. Demolition Renovator depends on the matchup. Don't keep more than 1 4-drop, especially if you don't have a good curve into it. On the coin, again, same stuff. Creature of Madness basically curves you for turn 2 and turn 3, so that's huge. And again, curving into Elise could be amazing for you. For other good Death Knight decks, here's what we have. This is the one I'm showing you. 4,000 freaking gains, but it's literally more than 3% less win rate than the Demon Hunter I showed you, so that says a lot. But we can see other iterations of it. Here's another one with the Giants. Here's another BBU control Death Knight. This one does not abuse the shadows. It has Hideous Husks and Chrono Lord, which is kind of interesting. And we also have Death Rattle Death Knight with small sample size, but it's looking kind of interesting. Very mediocre win rate, however, so there's that. With time, we are going to see a lot more population here, with Handbuff Death Knight still being okay. Frost Death Knight is actually playable. Stegadon Death Knight. Quite a few interesting lists out there. A more aggressive Corpse Death Knight. But for now, we just don't have too much stats. Oh, look at that. Handbuff Death Knight's actually looking pretty solid right now. Might give it a try soon again. Spot number 3 still goes to Aura Paladin, which can be mixed up with a little bit of Libram action, but so far the straight out Aura Pally is the better choice, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of deal. Nothing too spectacular about this particular list. I have guides about several different iterations of Aura and Cubicle Pally, so you might want to give those a check, but yeah, it's a very straightforward Aura Pally list with double Cardboard Golem, which allows you to really get a lot of extra ramp and help you do Gelbins literally as soon as turn 4 or 5 if you get lucky. This is actually not a potentially turn 4 because we don't have Puppet Master Dorian in here, but if you do, you are gonna even be able to do it as soon as turn 4 if you get extremely lucky, that is. No need to talk about it too much. Let's just see what the updated matchups are looking like. Why the hell do we not have matchups here, Hearthstone? I guess the Blob variant is a little bit less sample size, so let's see with the Dorian. The win rate is slightly lower, but for a lot more sample size, we take that trade, and again, Broxigar 50-50. Everything else positive for you, so pretty good stuff. When you're mulliganing, it is gonna be very important for you to find yourself the Violet Treasure Gill, or at least the Acceleration Aura. Righteous Protector is an okay thing to be doing on turn 1, but sometimes you're literally gonna throw it away just so you can find yourself the Treasure Gill, because against a lot of matchups, dropping a Protector on 1 really doesn't do all that much. Cardboard Golem is also pretty awesome. Curving into Elise can be great, literally as soon as turn 3 if you've ramped on 2. Urson Maul can be good. Xavius can be okay. Straight out holding on to Gelben, I would not really do that, like that's why you have the weapons for. Depending on the matchup, something like Plushie or Manifested Time Waste might make sense, but for the Time Waste, make sure to already have an Acceleration or a Violet Treasure Gill. 1 second, again, kinda same deal, so mulligan accordingly. Things like Gelben and Toref become a lot more keepable here though. For other good Pally decks, this is the one I'm showing you. It actually has slightly, no, it's still 0.1% lower than the Corpse, so there's that, but yeah, this is the one I showed you. This is the one with the bigger sample size, so literally more than 1% difference, but then again 4 times the games. Probably more people botch it, not just because it's bad, but the Dorian can definitely be pretty cool, but same can be said for Blob buying you an extra turn, so the choice is yours. We can also see the Aura Libram Pally I showed you is doing okay, but not as crazy good as the Aura Pally list, so there's that. Aggro Pally is playable, but nothing too great. Spot number 4, believe it or not, goes to Arcane Archwing Mage. I will be giving you a detailed guide about this deck later today, so be on the lookout for that, but this is card for card the exact deck I'm gonna be showing you, so definitely pretty good stuff. The deck felt pretty fun, not gonna lie. It's very interesting, and the 2 buffs it received definitely help it big time. This guy becoming cheaper, this thing becoming cheaper. Both are gonna be a lot easier to actually use, and the deck is surprisingly fun and surprisingly strong. What are you trying to do with this deck? Well, you could either overwhelm the opponent with Tryla and fill the board up with a bunch of 2-mana idiots. Just be careful not to get yourself a Pyromancer accidentally and keep on doing cheap spells, killing off half your board that way. But you can also do close to OTK damage with the help of Archwing Pilot, because you can literally be dealing 21 damage worth if you fill the board with these and the opponent's board is empty, which is a lot of ifs, but it does actually happen quite a lot. Surprisingly, it's not that hard to actually pull this thing off, because with Ingenious on turn 4, on turn 5 you can coin Arcwing. That's gonna give you 4 mana back, and you're gonna literally have 4 mana to be working with to cast a bunch of cheap stuff like Seabreeze Chalices, 0 mana spells out of Primordial Glyph, 0 mana Moonfires, or 0 mana Stored Scuffles. Basically, a lot of ways to get yourself cheap stuff, including Altar of Time, which can give you some pretty nice things, including discount for all of your spells in hand, which could be huge. So yeah, it's really interesting deck. It does pack a mean punch, and a lot of people still don't expect what you could be doing with this one, and they're gonna be thinking you are gonna be Protoss Mage for the most part. But yeah, check out my detailed guide later today, and you're gonna see the deck in action. It was hella fun. Matchup wise, we don't have too much stats, but apparently Quest War is gonna have a little bit too much armor for your liking, and for similar decks we can't really see anything because this archetype is a little bit new, but I have seen some pros trying to tinker with it, take it to different directions again with the same end game, so we might see another iteration of it soon, but for now this one is actually working surprisingly good. When it comes down to the mulligan, this deck really needs card draw, so do what you can to get yourself the Smoldering Grove. I wonder if you actually would be better off actually including something like the 2 mana Fire Elemental that draws you a fire spell, but we do have other fire spells in here with Flame Geysers and such, so I'm not sure about that, but maybe replace the geysers for that. I don't know. We also have the Troubled Mechanic, which does have a shot at drawing you your important Drain Eyes, but this thing can't draw itself because it's a Drain Eye itself. Same can be said for the Artificer. The Ryla is also a Drain Eye, and also Hataru as well as Arcwing Pilot, but it does help you actually fan out the deck nicely. The Vicious Slither Spear is a nice thing to be doing on turn 1. Ingenious Artificer is okay if you're curving into it. The Maroon Dark Mage can also be pretty helpful. Primordial Glyph, depending on the match of the Chalice, and also Ryla might make some sense, even though it's a little bit baity. On the coin here, you are going to be having extra card and the coin, so extra 0 spells, so that can be huge. So be careful how you use that 0 mana coin, because that would be helping you get an extra thing out of Ryla or an extra Arcwing Pilot, but you can also decide just to do it a turn earlier. In some cases it might be worth it, but for the most part the rest looks the same. Here's the list I'm showing you. It actually has insane win rate and pretty good sample size. As I said, Protoss Mage is still pretty popular, however, and Elemental Mage is somewhat making a returning. People trying new things while Elemental Mage going face. You know how that goes. When we have a meta shift, that's usually what happens. The rest of the Mage stuff doesn't look too hot right now though. And on the last spot, it's another surprise inclusion, guys. I could have included Quest Warrior. It does have a little bit better win rate with a lot smaller sample size, but Ashara Druid is actually surprisingly big time because this deck usually has a pretty high skill cap, and right now this thing has insane win rate and very high sample size, which is very, very weird to me, so I decided to include it over Quest Warrior. And apparently Dragon Warrior is not that high in the win rate, but you're gonna get to see that in a little bit. But yeah, Ashara Druid, even with all of the location destructions right now, is looking quite solid. The thing about Ashara Druid is it does have quite a few ways of getting yourself extra copies of minions, because you do have yourself Elise that can give you copies, you have yourself Zinajari, and you have yourself the Scrapbook Student, so you could just wait a little bit to actually play your first location and insta-copy it, and that way you are gonna play around the location destruction, which could be huge. What's the game plan with this deck? Well, you're trying to get yourself at least a couple of Auloniuses, preferably 3, because that brings you an OTK range, which basically happens with 2 locations that copy, so a single copied Zinajari gets the job done, or a single copied Elise, or just Zinajari plus Elise. As long as the opponent doesn't destroy yours, you will be able to do a couple of Aulonius extra like this, which literally gives you plus 24 spell damage on all of your spells, which is super busted, and a couple of Living Roots are literally enough to kill even warriors. But you could also copy 3 or 4 Stargrazers that can give you literally 24 or 32 damage straight out, and that can be your backup game plan usually. And when push comes to shove, even Well of Eternity could be helpful. Like, you can check out my last guide about this deck like a week ago, where we literally won against a freaking super lucky rogue that pulled off every single win condition I had, and then I pulled a hydration station out of my ass, also known as Well of Eternity. Ew, that sounded wrong, but doesn't matter. Literally my last charge, I managed to pull off a freaking hydration station, which gave me enough damage through freaking Stargrazers, which was kind of brutal. But yeah, those would be your 2 main game plans. You do have a decent amount of stabilization with things like Swipe, with Ebb and Flow. You have a lot of card draw, a lot of ramp, and even Blobs of Tar because they're busted. Elise is also in here, and so on and so forth. Really watch the detailed guide. I'm not going to be able to just give you the broad strokes here with good enough detail for you, so just check out that and you should have a much better understanding of what you could be doing with and against this deck. As for the matchups, here's what we have right now. You're actually going to be good against Broxigard Demon Hunter, so I guess that's a big selling point for it. And you're also okay against warriors and such, so that's kinda cool. As for the mulligan going first, you are gonna always be looking for your ramp, for your Elise, for your good card draw. The Tortolon Traveler gives you the Blob of Tar. A Midrasil can be great if you're curving into it, same with Zinajari. Press the Advantage helps you cycle. Innervate might be helpful in some cases. I wouldn't really hold on to Aulonius, however. As for on the coin, again, try to get the good curve, the good ramp, the good card draw, and Elise, and you should be good. For other good Druid decks, look at this. 1500 games, guys. 58 plus win rate. Pretty strong stuff. We have several other iterations of Ashara Druid, which are not doing as hot, and they literally just have a couple of cards difference, so I don't know what's up there. But yeah, all around this version of Ashara Druid right now is kinda smacking. For the classes we haven't mentioned, starting off with Hunter, Discover Hunter is still gonna be your best bet, especially if you're good with it. The win rate definitely is a lot lower than I remember it, but the skill cap is still just as high, so there's that too. Face Hunter is playable, Quest Hunter is also probably playable, but nothing too hot, and you can even check out my TikTok Hunter video, which Gore4 shared with me that deck, and that deck is actually also playable, but let's face it, it's mostly Discover Hunter. For Priest, Protoss Priest is still pretty up there, Control Priest still pretty down there. So the buffs really didn't change anything for Priest now, did they? As for Rogue, Thief Rogue, Imbue Rogue, and Miracle Rogue are still pretty decent, and I gotta say, give Templar Rogue a try, guys. I really think people are sleeping on it. So what the hell? Maybe they're not. This kind of looks like the exact list I showed you. I cannot believe this deck has this low win rate here. It is slightly different though. I think mine did not have Creature of Madness question mark. But yeah, for me, Templar Rogue really felt OP right now. As for Shaman, you still can't go wrong with mid-range Shaman, even though its win rate is not what it used to be. It's still pretty top tier if you ask me, but it's just so freaking obvious now, and people have learned how to play against it, I guess, so there's that too. As for Warlock, Egg Warlock is still up there. Warlock deck, what is that even? Kinda looks like the Shred Warlock I showed you, but not exactly. And the Shred Warlock I actually showed you, it's not the same list, but it doesn't look too pretty. I think this is the same list. Definitely looks like it. The sample size checks out. Yeah, this looks like the Jambray list we tried last stream, and it did feel good. Apparently not so much though. Rafam still under the weather. And last but definitely not least, the Warrior is still kicking teeth in. This was the deck I was gonna show you if I did not show you the Druid, which literally had the same win rate, but 3 times the sample size. And as you see, Dragon Warrior doesn't have too much sample size on its best versions right now. Here's the first decently populated version. Still respectable, but not the powerhouse it used to be. Not according to the stats at least. Maybe it's just a fluke. But yeah, still, go either for Dragon Warrior or for Quest Warrior and you should be good. So that's about it for this top 5, guys. I hope this helps you figure out what you want to be playing in the new Hearthstone meta, which is still kind of the same. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you still haven't, and don't forget you can check me out live on stream each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, where I do my best to show you the best Hearthstone decks right now. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.